We were discussing just a few weeks ago what came to be known as the Warner Brothers Bill. And Sir, I want to propose that we rename this bill the United Water Bill in honour of the economic interests that stand to benefit Sir. Very significantly, we could call it the Veolia Bill, actually, because under this bill, the public of New Zealand should be very, very clear that councils will be able to enter into contracts for periods of up to 35 years for the private management and control of our water assets, including ownership. And it was the Associate Minister who's sitting in the chair today who was the one who was candid enough, finally, in question time a few months ago, to acknowledge that the bill allowed private ownership of water assets. And I think the government's been a little bit unclear in its own mind about whether or not it would in fact allow the private ownership of pre-existing water assets. We're talking about pipelines, dams, wastewater treatment plants. But let's be very clear that this bill, Sir, makes explicit provision that it will in fact allow private ownership of pre-existing water assets if it is deemed to be incidental to the project and important to the success of the contract. Well, you could drive a bus through that. So not only does this bill allow private ownership of new water infrastructure that's constructed in the course of a BOOT scheme or a PPP, but if it's deemed to be important to the success of the contract, existing water infrastructure can be sold to the private sector under this bill. And we've had this bizarre spectacle for the last few months where the members on the government benches have repeatedly denied that this is privatisation, and I don't know how they can deny it when it allows 35-year contracts for private control, including private ownership of our water assets. Now, for any common sense reading of that, that is privatisation. And the member opposite is parroting the line that it has to be sold back to the council at the end of the 35 years. Well, you know what? It could be sold back, but equally that contract could be rolled over to create a 70-year period of private ownership of our water infrastructure. So I think the public of New Zealand see through this kind of fiction that the National Party are peddling in this case. There's no way around it. This bill amounts to opening the door to effective privatisation of our water infrastructure. And the member opposite may not like it, but it explicitly allows the sale to private interests of our existing municipal water infrastructure if it is deemed to be incidental to the contract and important to the success of it. It's there in black and white. How the members opposite can continue to deny that amounts to privatisation, I simply do not understand. So it could be this bill could be renamed the United Water contract. United Water Bill or Act in honour of United Water's role in this. And the Associate Minister made a great play of saying that there's a few local rural councils who would like the ability and the flexibility to be able to work with the private sector. Well, under this bill, this allows Auckland's new billion-dollar water monopoly to have the whole kit and caboodle contracted out to United Water overnight without consulting the public. So we're not talking about a little wastewater treatment plant in the back of Beyond, Mr Carter. This bill applies just as much to Auckland's billion-dollar water monopoly that's been paid for by generations of ratepayers. That can be handed over to United Water, and under the cuts to the consultation requirements in this bill, Clause 11, ratepayers wouldn't know a damn thing about it. It could be done without any sort of consultation or advance notification to the community, and I believe New Zealanders don't want that.
Chairman, you saw me first.
Carmel Cipollone.